Hey guys, so today I wanted to make a quick video going over the various things that I do within the terminal. I use the terminal in a lot of different videos and I have a custom configuration for it. So I thought today I'd go through and kind of show you everything, what terminal I use, what shell I use, how I get the shell prompt to look the way I do, and various commands that I use on a regular basis just to show you what they are and why I use them. So to start off with, what terminal am I actually using? Well, that is a terminal called Kitty. Let me zoom in here a little bit. And what Kitty is basically a special type of terminal emulator that offloads rendering to the GPU to try to reduce the amount of CPU usage that it has. Now, there's another terminal emulator that does this similarly called Alacrity, but the configuration for it is just a bit too complex, and if you don't get the spacing just right or the indents just right, it breaks the whole config, and I just didn't like that as much, so I use Kitty instead. Kitty is pretty straightforward, really easy to configure, and by the way, the configuration for this and all of the things that I'm going to show you today are available in my GitLab, so you can go and check them out as you see fit. One of the things that I would do though, if you want to try this out, is to go, I believe it's in advanced, and it's, yes, update check interval. So by default, Kitty will check for updates every 24 hours. So we'll call home to the servers that you download them from or what have you. I set that to 0 because I don't want it checking for updates. If I want to update it, I'll use my package manager. I don't want Kitty to do it for me. So this one setting here in advance, you might want to go in and change yourself. Other than that, there's not much else here you would really need to change. Here, let me jump back up here. You can go in and change the color scheme. So I got mine to look kind of have that Dracula color scheme, and you can change it and make everything look the exact way you want it to. There's just a lot of various settings here that you can change that I like personally. I think it's quite nice. So for me, personally at least, it's the best terminal emulator that I've used thus far, and I've tried a whole bunch of different ones. Kitty is my absolute favorite. So now that that's out of the way, let's quit out of there. Let's go back in, and let me zoom in again so you can see a bit better. Let's talk about the shell prompt that I use. Now, what is the shell prompt, you might be wondering? Actually, no, let's start with the shell. The shell is the way you actually interact with the terminal. So with most distributions of Linux, they come with bash by default, and it doesn't normally look like this, but it's the default prompt or shell that's used. I, however, prefer one called ZSH. For me personally, it has a lot of cool features built into it that has a lot of different stuff, and let me actually go in here and show you the ZSH configuration file that I use. So let's zoom in, Control Shift ++, and I'll show you the various things that I have for this shell prompt. So you'll notice if I go into another terminal, you'll notice a bunch of different stuff that shows up at the beginning of the terminal. That is the color script, and that's made by another content creator, Derek, or DT for short, DistroTube, and basically you just add that to the beginning of your shell, and it doesn't have to be ZSH. You can add this to Fish or to Bash, and it will still work. We'll talk about Starship prompt in a minute. Everything else here is basically what makes ZSH work. So if we go into here, I can show you some of the things that it can do. So if I'm typing in just some random crap, I can hit escape and use Vim mode, and I can do things with Vim, replace that with an H, hit Shift R and just start replacing all the different letters with whatever I want. So I can hit escape R and then replace all those with a G. So it's really nice to be able to have Vim mode included. You can do Shift V and select the whole line. You can just do regular V and select certain elements of it, and then delete them as you see fit. And if I wanted to edit this within Vim, I can just hit Control E, and then this comes up here in Vim, and I can, add more to it if I wanted to. If I remember, hit Insert like a smart person, and then I just save it, quit, and then that change is made, and you can go in and do as you see fit with it. So that's sort of the stuff you can do with Vim. There's also auto suggestion. So if you go in and we let's see, Control C, sorry, and we hit clear, you can see that it's already guessing that I want to type that in. So I can just hit the right arrow key, fill it out for me automatically, hit enter, and it completes the command. The same thing happens with CD, the same thing can happen with ZSH, same thing can happen with LS, so on and so forth. And that's a feature that was built into the fish prompt, the fish shell by default, but I wanted to use ZSH, so I got some, like I said, this configuration isn't actually my own. It's from another content creator, Chris at Machine, and I'll leave a link to his video about it in the description below. And I've made some changes to it, like I've edited the ZSH RC a little bit to work the way that I wanted it to, but other than that, it's pretty much the way that he had it, and I've just made a few minor edits to it here and there. A couple other things I want to show you. So if you hit Control R, you can actually go in and see all the different commands that you've entered. So if I wanted to see all the CD commands, I can hit that. If I wanted to see all the ZSH commands, I can do that. Okay, what I want to do. If I wanted to see all the help commands, I can see that and check that out. So it's a nice way to easily go in and check out all the various things or various commands that I've entered. If I hit Control F, I can see all of the directories that I've been in, and it even shows, this uses, by the way, Fuzzy Find to do all this. It even shows a preview of what's in each directory. So if I go into Documents to School, I can hit Enter, and then it will take me to that specific directory. I can go back and then just see all the other ones. So I can do .config, and it will take me to .config, and so on and so forth. So it's just a cool way to be able to do things really quickly and efficiently. So now let's go in, let's go back home, and let's clear out of all this, and let's talk about the shell prompt, right? How do I get this to look the way that I have it? So actually, if we go into, zoom again, if we go into Vim, I can actually show you starship.toml. This is how I get this prompt the way that I look, the way that I want, using something called Starship. And this is a really powerful shell prompt that you can customize it to look however you want to. So for example, here I have it. So it just shows a little symbol, and then that's it. You can have it so it has arrows. You can have it look pretty much however you want to. The only downside is I haven't found a good example website that shows a bunch of different configurations that people have used to get the prompt looking the way they want to. But other than that, this is really customizable, and how it works is you start off by having it look the way you want to. Then you have it show the various modules that you want. In my case, I have them all showing, but you can only show certain ones. So if you want to just hosting, directory, and Git stuff, you can just have that, forget everything else. You just replace all with the various things that you want. And then you scroll down, and then here you can go in and actually customize each module to look the way you want to. So if I wanted to say edit the Git modules, I can go into that, Git state, Git commit, Git branch, I can edit the Git status, and so on and so forth, and I can make it look the exact way that I want it to, rather than the way other shell prompts work, but it looks the way they want it to. So it's just a nice way to customize it. And what's nice is if we go into here, it shows, what I like is it shows the full path of whatever directory you're in, rather than condensing it, like showing D, S, F, and all that, shortening it up. It shows the whole path, which I prefer, because then I can easily say where I'm at without having to guess. If I walk away from the computer for a while and come back, and I don't have to say, but what the hell am I? I can easily see it without having to worry about it if I'm in a Git directory. So let's go into my config files. It will show me what branch I'm on. So it's just a nice way. It's simple. It's simplistic when I want it to be. So if I'm, home, doesn't show much, but if I'm in a directory, it shows me what I want to see. If I'm in a Git directory, it shows me what I want to see there as well. So it's just a nice way to have the prompt look clean when I want it to be, and yet detailed when I need it to be. Okay, now let's show a few different, let me clear all this out, a few different commands that I use to do things a little bit differently. So let's say you're trying to get to that directory I was just in. Well, with the ZSH config, you could just go, Control F, and then search for ACC, and then go right to it. Or you can use something called Zoxide. What Zoxide is, it's a way to jump to different directories that you visited quickly and easily without having to CD, I don't have to CD into .config and them, or CD into documents, school stuff, and all that crap. All you have to do is to Z space and then whatever directory you're trying to get into. So in this case, ACC201, hit enter, and it just jumps right to it. It's really cool way to jump to where you want to go without having to type too much into the terminal. You can Z home, and then you're good to go. Another command that I've done that I've kind of customized is ls. So let me show you this actually in Bash to show you what it looks like by default. If you do ls and then with the argument -a to show all directories, this is what it looks like by default. Now you can show it in a list if you want, but it's still all over the place. You have directories and files, and it's in alphabetical order, but it's still just a giant mess. So if we go back to ZSH and I clear the screen because dear Lord, that's big, and I ls here, you will see that this looks a lot different. It's a lot neater, more organized. Everything is in a nice list. You have everything's colorized. It shows hidden directories, regular directories, then files, hidden files, then regular files, all in alphabetical order, and that's done with a command called ls extended. So if we do here. So the way that I have it looking the way that I do is with the argument -a/lsh. And what that does is show all files and folders, including the hidden ones, but it excludes a few ones that I don't necessarily want to see. So then you also have -l, which shows all files and directories in a list form with various information about them. So the size, the owner, whether or not it's executable or not, how you see that there's like 1 and numbers here. So if you're in a directory, it shows how many files are within that directory. If it's just a file, it'll just show 1. The S sorts the output by directories first, and then the H shows everything in human readable format. So for example, it shows bytes, kilobytes, megabytes, so on and so forth, instead of just saying, oh hey, here's 1,100 and whatever. It simplifies it so it's easy and clean to read. For me, get out of here. Thank you. For me, it's just the way that I like ls to look. I think it's really neat and clean, and it's a better way than what is by default in either ZSH or Bash. So I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to show you in terms of what I do within the terminal. So the last thing I want to show you is my ZSH. Oh, nope, wrong one. The ZSH aliases config file. So let's full screen this and let's zoom in a couple times so you can see it clearly. So what aliases are, it's a way to be able to make one command. So like instead of having to enter, sudo, reflector, and all this other crap, all you have to do is type in mir into your shell and it will execute this entire command. This is how I'm able to use ls extended -alsh, simplify it down to just ls. And this is just, a quick way to access various commands. So v for nvim, yay syu to update the system, various things like that, and here for ZSH update plugins. It's just a quick and easy way to do various things, so I don't, the whole point of this is to do everything as quickly as humanly possible so that I don't have to worry about typing in a bunch of long commands and all that crap. I can just, z into acc, jump to that directory. I can go in and do ls instead of typing in that whole thing. I can do zsh dash, update plugins, and that'll run through and do that instead of typing in that whole long command. Doing things as quickly as humanly possible so that I don't have to worry about doing as much stuff myself. And yeah, that's pretty much everything that I wanted to show you. So really quickly, here are the various URLs, and I'm going to share all this in the description below. But here's the URL for Kitty. Here's the GitHub for ls extended, and you can see all the different various things that you can do with it. Here's Starship prompts, and this is actually a really well-made website. You can go into configuration and see all the various modules and the settings that you can set for it. You can see advanced configuration to all the different things you can do with it. Here is where I got the ZSH config for, or at least from Christian or Kristen Machine. Oh, and there is one thing I want to mention about that real quickly. If we're going to use this ZSH configuration, make sure, this is very important, that you go into your X profile in your home directory and add this. Import or export z.directory home.config zsh. If you do not do this, your computer will automatically look for ZSH RC files in your home directory and they won't be there. So you have to add this in if you're going to use this ZSH configuration in your setup. But here's where it originally came from. I put this into my GitLab with my custom settings to it, but if you wanted to just see what it is by default, here you go. And then here is the shell color scripts, which is how I get, all the various fun looking things. Again, they're meaningless, they just look nice, but here's how I get it, and he has a good tutorial on how to install it and get it running on your computer. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I wanted to show you. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this, click the like button, and if you really liked it and you want to support the channel, go ahead and subscribe and see more content. Thank you again for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. See ya.